Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Viking.TV. My name's Neil, and I'm based in Viking's London office, where I've worked for the past 11 years. And I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about one of my favourite destinations, the Mekong and the Magnificent Mekong tour over in Asia. It's 7 o'clock here in London, but wherever you are in the world, I do hope that you're keeping safe and well. And for the next 35, 40 minutes, I do hope I do this fantastic itinerary justice, and it just gives you a little bit of a sneak preview as to what to expect when you're travelling along the Mekong. Now, we will be available after the presentation to answer any questions, or hopefully answer any questions that you may have. And if I'm unable to answer any questions, then we will certainly do our best to answer them off camera and get back to you as and when we can. But for now, sit back, relax, and let's venture over to Southeast Asia and discover more about the Magnificent Mekong. So before we discover more about this truly unique itinerary, let's take a look at Southeast Asia's most important waterway. The Mekong River stretches from the Tibetan highlands, finally reaching the South China Sea, flowing through China, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam, covering over 4,000 kilometres. And it's the 7th longest river in the world, the longest being the Nile, stretching over 6,500 kilometres. The Mekong really is a working river and can produce over 4 million tonnes of fish per year, making it the world's most productive river. Now, the Mekong also acts as a natural border between Laos, Myanmar and Thailand, and it's in an area called the Golden Triangle. Of course, the Mekong is home to many of Southeast Asia's largest cities, including Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam and Phnom Penh in Cambodia, two of the fascinating cities that you'll visit on this 15-day journey. Let's now watch a short video to bring these sights and sounds to life and experience life along the river with Viking.
In the heart of exotic Southeast Asia, opportunities for exploration await. Discover 2 countries, 2 cultures and 2 ways of life, linked by one powerful river. Join Viking River cruises and explore the heart of these vibrant countries on a remarkable 15-day journey. Set your sights on Hanoi, former capital of French Indochina. Explore the center of this dynamic 1,000-year-old Asian capital. Meander the 36 streets by Cyclo, the ubiquitous passenger bicycles of Southeast Asia. Wander the grounds of the Ho Chi Minh Memorial and pause to reflect at the infamous Hanoi Hilton.
It's fascinating, very entertaining and very educational. We've had an absolute ball.
A world away from bustling Hanoi, Cambodia holds a wealth of inspiring temples and monuments. None is more captivating than Angkor Wat, an immense UNESCO World Heritage Site built in the 12th century AD. And at the mysterious Bayon Temple, you can ponder the meaning behind the enigmatic smiles on the carved faces. Sail with Viking along the magnificent Mekong in both Cambodia and Vietnam. Along the way, witness nature and villages seemingly untouched by time.
Absolutely fabulous food, people, culture, and it was just incredible.
With Viking, a visit to Phnom Penh, Cambodia's breathtaking capital, provides unforgettable experiences.
It was fantastic. Just absolutely captivated me.
Beyond the mesmerizing Mekong lies impressive Ho Chi Minh City, formerly Saigon. Look out for traces of French colonial culture in this vibrant city. Visit the War Remnants Museum, the Reunification Palace, or Chulang, the city's Chinatown.
It's really, a neat way to see a different part of the world.
It's fabulous. We're enjoy our accommodations. The food's wonderful. The service is great. Viking is a first-class operation.
Beyond the magnificent Mekong, Viking offers pre- and post-cruise extension packages to further enhance your Southeast Asia adventure. Before or after your cruise tour, explore Halong Bay's remarkable rock formations and enjoy an overnight stay in a deluxe hotel. followed by an overnight in Hanoi to enjoy more of this striking city. And you may also extend your exploration of Southeast Asia with a 3-night stay in Bangkok, capital of Thailand and one of Asia's most dynamic cities. With Viking, you'll get to know the real Southeast Asia. Your cruise includes 1 or more escorted tours each day, all led by English-speaking guides. And when you explore with Viking, your journey is enhanced by our culture curriculum program.
We loved it. Tours were great. The tour guides were very good, very knowledgeable. They really knew their country.
To ensure you experience Southeast Asia in comfort, Viking has partnered with the world's finest hosts for both your cruise and hotel accommodations. Relax on board your ship, a beautifully handcrafted vessel, specifically designed to navigate even the most remote areas of the Mekong River. Enjoy delicious meals, from an abundant breakfast buffet to a multi-course dinner featuring regional specialties.
It's been very good. They make you feel at home.
Come explore the magnificent Mekong in comfort with Viking River cruises. You'll enjoy an enriching, enlightening voyage with memories to last a lifetime.
I hope that short video gave you a bit of a taste of the Mekong itinerary. One thing I'd like to point out is that this cruise will now be operated by a brand new ship, the Viking Saigon, rather than the ship featured in the clip that you've just watched. And I'll tell you more about the ship later on in the presentation. So let's have a look at the Magnificent Mekong cruise and stay itinerary. Your 15-day journey includes 7 hotel night stays, along with your 7-night river cruise, visits 2 countries, and you'll also have 16 guided tours included. All meals on board the ship, plus breakfasts and dinners included when you're on the land section of the journey. And of course, you'll have your Viking guide throughout from start to finish to answer any questions that you might have and make sure you get the best out of all that's on offer. As this journey operates in either direction, you may be wondering where am I best to start? Just start in the south and work my way north, or travel north and work my way south? Well, the truthful answer is there's no real difference, as you get all the same inclusions. However, if you travel in the Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh direction, which is the direction we'll be talking about today, you have 5 hotel nights at the start of the journey. 2 in Hanoi, Vietnam. You then cross the border into Siem Reap, Cambodia for 3 nights. Then staying in Cambodia, you join your ship in Kampong Cham, where you'll spend 7 nights on board your ship. You then cross back over to Vietnam, spending 2 nights in Ho Chi Minh City, whereas in the other direction, the bulk of your hotel stays are at the end of your trip rather than the beginning, and that's the only real difference. If it was pushed to my preference, I would probably say the one I'm describing, Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh, is you have the busy exploration days at the very start of the cruise, then the relaxation of the ship for the week. However, this is by no means a deal breaker, and it's only my personal preference. So if you've travelled with Viking before, you'll know that we really have the best tour guides, and this cruise is no exception. Our Viking tour guides, they're experienced and knowledgeable, and they know the area you're visiting inside out. They've strong connections in the local area and are willing to open up and share their personal experiences of life in this part of the world. Now remember, you have 16 guided tours included, so we want you to make sure that you come away with as much knowledge and insight to this part of Southeast Asia as possible. Now I'll tell you more about a brand new ship on the Mekong later on, which we're all very excited about. But think about this itinerary as being part of an exclusive club, as we only have 80 guests experiencing this journey at any one time. Before looking at each day in more detail, you can opt for an extension to experience more of Southeast Asia, and these are available whatever direction of travel you choose. Around a 3-hour drive from Hanoi is Ha Long Bay, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, when I first went to Ha Long Bay back in 1993, it took a lot longer than 3 hours to get there, believe me, it was more like 6. But it shows how much the infrastructure has changed over the years. Ha Long Bay is breathtaking. You have these emerald waters and limestone islands to discover. And as part of the tour, you go on a junk to get up close and personal and weave in and out of these islands. The extension includes 1 night in Hanoi, along with 1 night in Ha Long Bay. Another option and a really good choice to think about if you want to break your journey up is in Thailand, the land of smiles, and the capital city, Bangkok. I really love Bangkok. You have the hustle and bustle of the Chao Phraya River running right through the heart of the city, and it's a real working river. You can discover the wats or temples, and of course the food. Definitely try Tom Yum soup when you're in Bangkok. Now the extension includes a 3-night hotel stay. You'll have your 2 guided tours included, and remember you have all the services of the Viking host to make recommendations for any independent travel. Before making a decision on any of the optional extensions available to you, ask yourself, how often will I be in this part of the world? If you're a regular traveller to Asia, you may be happy to just do the cruise itinerary. But if you think, actually, I want to see everything else that's on offer and make the most of it, then the extensions need to be on your tick list of must-dos. Let's look at the itinerary map that outlines how you'll travel along the scenic Mekong River and experience the history, culture and cuisine of Vietnam and Cambodia. We begin our journey in Hanoi, Vietnam, and here you'll have a 2-night hotel stay. You'll then take a short afternoon flight over to Siem Reap in Cambodia, where you'll spend 3 nights in a hotel. Your ship will be waiting for you in Kampong Cham, Cambodia, where you'll embark and begin your sailing to Phnom Penh. Your sailing concludes in Ho Chi Minh City, and here you'll have 3 days in a centrally located hotel. So when's the best time to go? Well, our cruises operate August through to the end of March, and we're on sale for the end of this year, 2021, right through until 2023. Now, the main thing to bear in mind, especially in Vietnam, is the climate can be different in the north, so in the Hanoi area, compared to the south in and around Ho Chi Minh City. In the north, September to October, it's hot and can be higher humidity, so you may get more rainfall, but generally these are short, sharp showers. November to April can be slightly cooler, but still around 23 degrees centigrade, so around 76 degrees Fahrenheit. In the south, so in the Ho Chi Minh area, it's hot and dry November to April, with temperatures around 30 degrees plus, so around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, with more rain falling between September and October, but it still remains very warm. In Cambodia, November to April is hot and has very little rainfall. Now, when I travel to Cambodia, it's generally in August, and I get rain, but again, it's short, sharp showers, but still very warm. Really, whenever you choose to travel, pack lightweight clothes, a sun hat, sunglasses, and a waterproof and high protection sunscreen. I love the sun, but it doesn't always love me, unfortunately. For currency, credit cards in the biggest cities are widely accepted and ATMs are plentiful. However, take some US dollars for use in local shops or markets, and these should be clean, crisp, small dollar bills. 1s, 5s, 10s and 20s are really the best denominations to take. Day 1 arrives and welcome to Hanoi, where the journey begins. Now remember, if you've arranged air through Viking, we'll transfer you from the airport to your hotel. The hotels we use throughout, they're all international standard and offer first-class facilities. And the hotels we use, although they're subject to change and not confirmed until nearer departure, they're always in a very central location. In Hanoi, our hotel is situated in between the Old Town and the new business district. You'll notice real differences in the places we visit on this cruise. Hanoi has an old-style French colonial feel to it, and you have these lakes within the city which really open it up. It also has a slightly calmer feel than, say, the hustle and bustle of Ho Chi Minh City. After a good night's sleep, we're on day 2, and after breakfast at your hotel, you'll take a tour of this unique 1,000-year-old Asian capital, where old and new combine in a lush setting of parks and lakes. The city's changed massively over the years, with many international businesses and shopping centres now here, but you'll also have the old town markets to snap up a bargain. Our included tour is a full-day excursion of historic Hanoi. On this tour, you'll visit the Ho Chi Minh Memorial Complex, which includes the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, the museum, and the simple stilt house that was the leader's dwelling from 1948 until his death in 1969. Moving on, you'll visit the peaceful walled courtyards and graceful gateways of the Temple of Literature. The lunch today you can enjoy independently from any local or international restaurant. And afterwards, it's off to visit the Museum of Ethnology, which chronicles the nation's ethnic diversity. We'll continue on to the iconic One Pillar Pagoda, which is an 11th century monument rebuilt after the French destroyed it in 1954, passing beautiful colonial landmarks such as the Magnificent Opera House and St. Joseph's Cathedral. The excursion concludes with a visit to Wa La Prison, the notorious Hanoi Hilton, where American prisoners of war were held captive during the Vietnam War. You'll have the afternoon to relax before dining at a local restaurant. It's our third and final day in Hanoi, and we have an excursion to explore Hanoi's old quarter by green electric car. Spend time relaxing or go for a wander independently to enjoy your last few hours of this fascinating city. This afternoon, we take the short flight of around 1 hour 45 minutes to Siem Reap in Cambodia for the second leg of this Mekong adventure. It's only around a 25-minute drive to the hotel where you'll have a 3-night stay. And after check-in, your dinner this evening is accompanied by a traditional Cambodian Apsara dance show. I absolutely love visiting Asia, but Siem Reap has got to be one of my favourite places to visit, and I try and head back there when I can and when time and money permits. It's a fairly compact city and it's easy to wander around the town on foot or by tuk-tuk, the 3-wheeled motorised vehicles that weave in and out of the traffic. You've got lots of restaurants, cafes and bars in Siem Reap, and I really urge you to explore to get a true sense of all the city has to offer. Within the main cities, you can get international cuisine if that's your preference, but the local food is a must. And in Cambodia, you've got to try fish amok. Now, the best way to describe it is like a coconut fish stew, generally served on a banana leaf. And the last time I was over in Siem Reap, I tried my hand at a cooking school. And unfortunately, my efforts weren't as good as the image that you'll see on the screen now. I've never found Cambodian food overly spicy, but if you do like the food spicier, you can always request this. Now, I probably never described fish amok in the best way there, so let's have a look at some other flavours of the Mekong.
Mornings in Vietnam are an absolute feast for the senses. Because that's when the markets are in full bloom. Exploring these bustling waterways with my dearest friend Chi, it's easy to see the Vietnamese treasure fresh food. These colourful markets bring up daily along rivers across the country, and of course on neighbourhood streets. Vietnamese cuisine is incredibly diverse, and one of my favourites comes in a most unusual wrapping. The locals call it banh chan. Also known as rice paper, it's made by repeatedly feeding rice through a stone grinder until it becomes liquid. This batter is then spread evenly over a heated surface where it's steamed for about a minute. The result is what appears to be an impossibly thin, yet surprisingly strong wrapper. One that opens up a world of yummy possibilities. To learn more about the banh chan, Chi and I stopped in at Laura de Nam Ki, where owner and food author Madame Thuy walked us through the basics of using rice paper to create fresh spring rolls. A delicious, easy dish to make.
Những cái nguyên liệu thì cũng rất là gần gũi, bánh tráng, rồi có thịt heo luộc, tôm luộc, các cái loại rau và bún.
We have rice paper, and we have rice noodles and shrimp, and
that looks like belly of pork.
Yes.
Norwegian Christmas dinner.
Yes.
The dried rice paper we saw earlier became the base for our spring rolls. With just a little water, it quickly becomes flexible and ready to use.
So now my stiff rice paper is really soft.
Yes.
Sau khi bánh tráng của mình mềm rồi thì bắt đầu mình để tôm xuống dưới.
the prawn first.
And it's important to put the prawns first
Yes.
because they're on top, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Not quite in the middle, but a little closer to one edge.
Xong sau đó là tới thịt.
Yeah.
And we have pork belly next.
Pork belly, yeah. On top of the shrimp.
Sau đó thì ta sẽ cho bún lên trên cái thịt, rồi tới rau.
Rice noodle.
Rice noodles, right? So rice paper and rice noodles. And then we put some vegetables.
Yes.
We're using salad. This is salad. And we have Vietnamese basil.
Yes.
And this?
Cái đó một chút nữa.
No.
No, later.
Later.
Yes.
Once you have a nice selection of fresh ingredients, slowly stretch and roll the rice paper, using your fingers to tuck in any stray items as you move.
Có chặt không chị?
Hơi chặt.
Yeah,
So
right.
the rice paper has become almost elastic.
Nữa
Yes.
thôi. Xong sau đó thì
Fold it to the end, just halfway.
It's like wrapping a Christmas present.
đây của hai đầu này lại. Xong thì sau đó thì mới để cái này vào đây để cho nó lòi ra cho nó đẹp á.
This is a chive.
It's a chive, yeah.
And then we put it here.
Since the rice paper is translucent, both careful rolling and placement of the ingredients are required to create a beautiful spring roll.
You see that if we would like to have the shrimp in this perfect distance, then we have to place them.
On the grid, because
Yes,
the rice paper
yes,
has a kind of a
yeah.
grid. Yeah. Not bad for my first spring roll.
Congratulations, it's perfect.
Can I see yours? Who's the expert?
Yes.
And who's the novice? I did my shrimp upside down.
Để tôm ngược, tôm với cái màu đỏ. Normally, we have spring roll dipped in this sauce, soybean.
Cái sốt này làm từ tương và bơ đậu phộng.
It's a bean and peanut butter.
Peanut butter, yeah, because that's the one I'm used to. I can eat that with a spoon.
You can also use the fish sauce.
Yeah.
It's a carrot.
Carrots, yeah,
And
sort of pickled carrots.
Yes,
or,
pickled carrots.
Yeah. Thank you. Excellent. They are delicious. I could eat these for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, every day, all day. So how long has Madame Thuy been making food, and did she learn from her mother and from her grandmother, or?
She had been cooking since she was 9 years old.
And do most girls in Vietnam know how to make spring rolls?
Tất cả những phụ nữ, đàn bà con gái Việt Nam mình đều biết cái cuốn.
Chắc chắn rồi, ai cũng sẽ biết.
And how about the boys?
Ông biết không?
Chị nghĩ là biết, tại vì rất là dễ làm.
Yeah, even men, it's so easy to make it.
Our second roll was a fusion of Norwegian and Vietnamese ingredients, as we topped the rice paper with salmon, vegetables, and a type of rice noodle I'd never seen.
This is rice noodle too, but we have many kind of rice noodles. Yes.
It's like rice noodle pancake.
Yeah.
And then we put some vegetables.
Yes.
And then the fillet of salmon. It's fried, is it? It's
Yes,
already
it's fried with fresh meat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that mint?
Yes, it's mint.
That makes it fresh.
Yes.
Áp chả sơ qua, sau đó thì chúng ta có thể ngâm một chút với cái hỗn hợp giấm balsamic. Cái món ăn này nó rất là healthy, tốt cho sức khỏe, là bởi vì chúng ta có rất là nhiều rau, rồi cá hồi và một chút tinh bột từ cái bánh hỏi này.
Yeah, this is very healthy because we have a lot of vegetables, salmon, and you see a little bit of rice.
You know, one could really have fun experimenting with different ingredients. You know, you could put almost anything inside.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It's really Vietnamese fast food.
Yes.
That's the finished.
Yeah.
Can we try that? Excellent. It's a totally different flavor. It's delicious. So I have eaten spring rolls since I've known Chi, and that's more than 25 years, and I never learned how to make them. So I have to thank you for teaching me how to make spring rolls.
Food is one of the best ways I've found to explore another culture and its people. I hope you'll do as I did in Vietnam or at home and enjoy some laughs attempting to make Vietnamese spring rolls yourself.
Day 4 arrives and Siem Reap awaits, the gateway to Angkor, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most important archaeological sites in the world. Begin your day with a visit to one of Angkor's largest Khmer temples, Angkor Wat. Built in the 12th century AD, it is one of the most spectacular sites in Southeast Asia. You can get some amazing sunrises over Angkor, and I remember getting up at 4 AM to get the perfect spot to get the perfect sunrise, as did half of Siem Reap, but it was still breathtaking. In the afternoon, spend time exploring the fortified city of Angkor Thom, which houses several of Angkor's most popular attractions, such as the Terrace of the Elephants. And in the evening, you'll dine in a local restaurant. As I mentioned previously, we use international standard hotels throughout, and Siem Reap is no exception. Currently, we use the Sofitel Angkor Hotel, which is situated between the city of Siem Reap and Angkor Wat. Now, the Sofitel has vast landscape gardens and a really large pool, so it's perfect for relaxing after a busy day exploring the area. And if you wish to head into Siem Reap from the hotel, you can do this on tuk-tuk, and it will cost around $2 to $3. This itinerary is fully escorted from the minute you arrive until the minute you leave, and our tours have been tailor-made to ensure you get the best that this region has to offer. However, if you want to explore on your own during your free time, you can do this, and we're with you every step of the way to help guide and assist you. We're on day 5 in Siem Reap, and today you have 3 different included tours to choose from. You may visit Ta Prohm, one of the most popular of the temples of Angkor, continue on to the spectacular 10th century Hindu temple at Bante Shree, or Citadel of Women, to see magnificent carvings of Shiva and Vishnu. Now, Bante Shree was always one of my favourite temples to visit. I can't really describe why, but it's the feeling that you get when you're wandering around. At Viking, we try to give something back to the communities we visit, and this afternoon you'll have the option to stop by an elementary school we sponsor, which is around 45 minutes from Siem Reap. You get to know a little about these local children and their lessons. You can talk with the teachers and learn about the contribution that Viking scholarship has made to the school and its community. This evening and your last night in Siem Reap, enjoy dinner in a local restaurant, followed by a Cambodian circus show. Now, the performance blends theatre, music, dance, acrobatics, juggling, and aerial acts that'll help see you off in style. It's nearly time to board your ship on day 6, the Viking Saigon, and after breakfast we head to Kampong Cham. And Kampong Cham is approximately 259 kilometres, or a 4-hour drive from Siem Reap. And although you may think it's a longish drive, it gives you the perfect opportunity to sit back, relax, and take in the Cambodian countryside. We head to Kampong Cham via the provincial capital of Kampong Thom, which is an important area for fishing and agriculture. It also has a rich archaeological heritage with 200 temples, some of which predate the Khmer Empire. This afternoon, we'll aboard your waiting ship, the brand new Viking Saigon, and once you've settled in, you'll meet the ship's officers and crew over a welcome cocktail. You may choose to join both of our included tours today, day 7. This morning, visit the twin holy mountains of Nom Pro and Nom Phray, where there are many temples and pagodas that are still used during traditional Khmer festivals. And this afternoon, the ship sets sail towards a silk weaving village, where you can take a walk through the village of Chong Ko and admire the rich local fabrics. This evening, aboard your ship, you'll enjoy a welcome reception from the crew. Our brand new ship is scheduled to enter service later this year, and you'll be one of the first to experience the Viking Saigon. So your home from home is set over 3 decks and carries 80 guests. Our Explorer Society members, so guests that have travelled with us previously, will notice the similarities of our long ships with the cool Scandinavian design intertwined with local touches. And it's great to get back to those familiar surroundings that you may have experienced on our other ships. Now, although this is an artist's rendering, it gives you an idea of the look and feel of the ship. And you can see we have a lot of deck space up on deck 3. That's where the sky bar is situated. There's a small pool as well as a gym and spa, and our lounge is found on deck 2 and restaurant on deck 1. We have a range of staterooms, all with French balcony or veranda, as well as 2 explorer suites with a large terrace. Now, the slide that you see now is the French balcony stateroom with floor-to-ceiling sliding doors, and it's similar to that which you may have stayed in on our Viking longships in Europe. This is our veranda stateroom, so it's very similar in style to the French balconies, but you've got a full veranda. Remember though, it doesn't matter which side of the ship that you're on, the cruise is all about discovering the villages and local life along the banks of the river. We've got lots of open deck space on board, and that's where you'll want to spend the majority of your time, seeing what's happening on either side of the river. Sailing on to day 8 of the journey, welcome to Cambodia's capital Phnom Penh and its picturesque waterfront. You'll notice a difference between Siem Reap, which is a gentler pace of life, versus Phnom Penh, which offers more hustle and bustle. After breakfast, we'll explore the city in a cyclo, which is a 3-wheeled bicycle rickshaw. You must take advantage of this. It's a speedy way to get around the city, plus it's a key source of income for many Cambodians. You'll see the magnificent royal palace with its spectacular silver pagoda, which was built in the 19th century by the French, but inspired by the centuries-old architecture of the Khmer. You'll then take a tour of the National Museum of Cambodia, which houses treasures of Khmer art and craftsmanship, and displays art that predates the mighty empire and really tells the true story of Cambodia. After lunch, we pay a visit to the sobering memorial on the Tuol Sleng Detention Centre, the former high school in which thousands of victims of the Khmer Rouge died, and also the killing fields of Chuang Ek. If you prefer, you may discover the city's maze of small alleys, markets and busy streets on your own. And tonight, you'll enjoy a local folklore performance during dinner. This morning's excursion on day 9 takes you through the Cambodian village of Kampong Tralak. Now, Kampong literally means village or settlement. Afterwards, take a short ride to the Udon Monastery, where you'll receive a blessing by the monks. Then continue on to a neighbouring village, which is famous for its silversmiths. Now, your afternoon is free to explore Phnom Penh's historic riverfront, with its restaurants, art galleries and silk shops, or perhaps visit the distinctive central market or the Russian market, where you can buy jewellery, clothes and souvenirs. You might prefer to visit more of the city's monastery temples, Wat Lang Ka, Wat Botum or Wat Ko. Each has its own special character. Now, you'll hear the name Wat quite a few times, and that translates as temple. Later this afternoon, when back on board and before dinner, you enjoy an onboard presentation about recent Cambodian history by a local historian. You're now 10 days in, and it's time for a relaxing, easy day on board your ship as we sail down the Mekong towards the Vietnamese border. Now, after several days of sightseeing, now's the time to sit on the sun deck and watch the world go by, or head to the spa and indulge in a treatment, maybe grab a drink and discover all about the local area that you're sailing through. This journey is all about discovery, learning and experiencing a unique way of life. And the best way to see the real Cambodia in Vietnam is from the river. The rice fields, for example. The Khmer Empire was founded on a rice surplus, and rice is still the main staple of the Vietnamese cuisine. Before dinner and an onboard movie screening, as the sun sets, enjoy a cocktail at the open-air Sky Bar. The movie tonight is the 2002 film The Quiet American, based on the Graham Greene novel set in 1952 Saigon and starring Sir Michael Caine. This cruise is all about life along the river. You're passing places that are sometimes inaccessible or difficult to get to by any other form of transport. My advice is to get up early and watch some spectacular sunrises, hear the noises from the cockerels crowing in the distance, and in the evening, sit on deck, grab a drink, and reflect on the extraordinary stories you've heard and the sights that you've seen so far. It's day 11 and you've arrived in Tan Chau, where you'll get a rare glimpse of rural life as it's been lived for centuries. The morning starts with a ride in a traditional rickshaw around the local area, and afterwards you'll visit a floating fish farm by wooden sampan, then take a boat ride to Vinh Hoa, which is known as Evergreen Island, and here you can take a short walk to see various methods of traditional Vietnamese fishing firsthand. It's day 12 and we arrive in Sade. It's a really interesting French colonial river port and it's an agricultural trading centre. It was once one of the Mekong Delta's largest cities. Today, it's a laid-back town of tree-lined streets, old villas and colourful markets. We board a sampan, which the best way to describe it is a flat-bottomed wooden boat, and we explore the backwaters and canals of the Delta, and it gives you a real insight into local life. And you also get to see some of the local industries in the area with a visit to the brick factory. A must in Sade is to see the house of Mr. Huynh Thuy Le, the protagonist and best-selling author Marguerite Duras's novel, The Lover. After lunch, we visit the colourful floating market of Kai Be, where you'll see local workers producing rice noodles, coconut candy, and lots of other handmade products. It's day 13 and we bid farewell to your ship this morning as your sailing comes to an end. Now we disembarked the ship in My Tho and it's a busy river port approximately an hour and a half from Ho Chi Minh City. On your way to Ho Chi Minh City, you'll tour the Chu Chi tunnels. Now these once secret tunnels were used as supply routes, hospitals and living quarters by the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War. These are remarkable tunnels and some of them are so tight to contemplate even moving around in. Upon arrival in the city, you'll check into your hotel for a 2-night stay. And the hotel we currently use is in the city centre with lots of shops and restaurants and cafes nearby. So you can then spend the rest of the day at leisure exploring and getting acquainted to Ho Chi Minh at your own pace. From when I first visited Ho Chi Minh in the 1990s to when I went back a few years ago, the old town and markets still remain the same, but the city's been transformed into Southeast Asia's powerhouse with tall glass buildings, designer shops and large shopping centres. You'll notice quite a contrast to Hanoi, which is much more laid back, and Siem Reap, which really seems positively village-like. But one thing Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City do have in common are these, motorbikes, and thousands of them. So crossing the road can be a bit of a challenge, but where there's a will, there's a way. And it all adds to the uniqueness and excitement of this fascinating city. Now, Ho Chi Minh City, formerly known as Saigon, is the biggest and most cosmopolitan city in southern Vietnam. And you can really see the French influence with the colonial architecture. And you get a real feel for the energy that the city gives off, especially when you're enjoying your dinner this evening in a local restaurant. It's our penultimate day in Ho Chi Minh City, and after breakfast we'll begin another full day tour visiting the historic centre. You'll take a stroll along Dong Khoi Street, and Dong Khoi Street is one of the main shopping boulevards in the old colonial heart. You'll see the Grand City Hall, Reunification Palace, the old Opera House with its soaring arched entryway, the Chinatown area and the lacquer factory, and you'll complete your tour at Ben Tang Market. And the rest of your afternoon is free, so you can go out independently and explore the city's neighbourhoods and Parisian-style boulevards. Or you can do a last-minute bit of shopping at the local markets before this evening's final dinner at a local restaurant. All good things come to an end, and here we are on day 15. After breakfast, it's time to say goodbye. So when you're on your way back home, and for all of us it's a fairly long flight from Southeast Asia, you'll be thinking about what you've just experienced. One of the most enriching journeys in the world. The food, the people, the history, the culture, the sights and sounds, and the most amazing sunrises and sunsets you'll ever see. It's a journey that will have you wanting to visit this part of the world for many, many years to come. Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that very short presentation to give you a bit of an overview of our Magnificent Mekong cruise, and hopefully it's answered some of the questions that you may have along the way. If not, now's the time for me to try and answer them, or as many of them as I can as possible. So we'll kick off. We'll go on a bit of a world tour. There's a few in from all corners of the globe. We've got Canada, we've got the States, we've got a few in the UK as well. So here goes. Let's see who the first one is from today. So we've got Barbara in Columbus over in the States. Hi, Barbara. I'm not sure what time it is over there, but hope you're keeping well. Can you recommend what type of clothing we should bring? Is there a dress code for the temples? Regardless of whatever time of the year that you go, just pack lightweight clothing. Pack good walking shoes, so even a lightweight pair of trainers, as long as they've got good grips on them. You might also want to pack longer trousers as well, and that's quite a good idea, especially when you're going around the temples at Angkor, to wear maybe longer trousers. But lightweight clothing, waterproof jacket, that's really all you need. Temples, very, very good question. And I think it's always good to cover your shoulders. So if ladies maybe bring a sort of cardigan or a shawl with you, and also maybe like out of respect, really, sort of longer, maybe a longer skirts or trousers or something when you're visiting temples. But that would be my advice anyway, Barbara. But thanks for the question. Got one from Patricia over in the States. Hi, Patricia. How rigorous are the expeditions most days? So if you look at the daily tours, if you've travelled with us on the waterways of Europe or any of our other cruises, we have 4 or 3 levels actually of tour, excursion, sort of walking tour, whether it's rigorous or whether it's for the more adventurous. So you can decide in advance, which one's right for you. I'd probably say on this cruise, they're all really quite relaxed, and they're not too rigorous. You've got to also remember, though, that sometimes the terrain isn't as flat as you would maybe find in the big cities or in your home country. And also, if you're in the Angkor Wat area, or if you're looking around temples, then sometimes the ground can be uneven. So you've just really got to be sort of mindful of that. But you can just go at your own pace. And remember, we have the Quiet Vox headsets as well that you'll find on all our river and ocean cruises. So you can go at your own pace and you can still hear everything that the tour guide is telling you. But the ship crew will make sure that, if you've got any issues or concerns or queries, they'll answer them and they'll advise you if it's the right thing to do. But I honestly think that you'd be okay on this one. So don't worry too much about that. So there we go. That's Patricia. Thanks for the question there. Who else have we got coming in? One from Carl in Windsor in Canada. Hi, Carl. Can you tell us about buying things from the local markets? Should you always haggle for the best price? Well, this is a Scotsman that's about to answer that question, who always likes a bargain and always who likes the best price. And actually, it's just part of the day-to-day life over in Southeast Asia that you do barter for the best possible price. And I know it doesn't come naturally to a lot of us, sort of haggling for the prices, but certainly in Southeast Asia, it's part of the day-to-day life. So, feel free to go on with your lowest price, and the Vietnamese and Cambodian people will surely make sure that you pay more than you were expecting. But don't be put off by that. It's a fun thing to do, actually, and then you can compare notes when you get back on board the ship or back in the hotel in the evening about who got the best price that day. So bartering, just a way of life over in Asia. Right, where are we? One from Annie over in Canada. Hi, Annie. Since the weather is hot and rainy, when is the best time to visit? Well, the cruises operate from the end of July, so the back end of July through to April, and then they stop and start up again. So, as I mentioned in the presentation, it can be hot and humid sort of most of the time, but actually, temperature-wise, I'd maybe say October through to April, it can be very hot, especially in Cambodia and in southern Vietnam, but it's actually slightly cooler up in the northern part of Vietnam. But that's not a bad time to actually travel. I've been over to Asia certainly in August, and it can be hot, it can be humid, and then you have these short, sharp showers. A lot of the excursions that we operate, actually, they start early in the morning, so you get you're not out in the heat of the midday sun. So you're sort of protected from that element of it, and that certainly helps out with the weather and and coping with the weather and the humidity when you're over in Asia. So thank you very much for that question, Annie. We have one from Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. What type of inoculations should or are to be taken when you're over there? I'd always really just say consult with your GP to make sure that they, there's no allergic reactions, or you make sure that you've got the right, the right inoculation for travelling. And generally, they say typhoid, polio, tetanus are the standard inoculations that a lot of health professionals recommend. But certainly double check with your healthcare professional or your GP to make sure that they give you the right advice for you for travelling over to Asia. So thanks for that question, Kathleen. I'm not sure where in the world you are, but wherever you are, thanks for watching. Right, we have, this is a comment actually from Bill in Fredericksburg over in the States. Hi, Bill. Have toured Vietnam throughout the entire country 5 times, including my combat tour in the I Corps and the 23rd Infantry Division in 1969. Your journey here is great. Thank you very much. My last trip was in 2015, where we led an official delegation. Much of what you're doing is in alignment with this great work. Sincerely, Bill. Thank you very much for that comment, Bill. And again, thanks for watching Viking TV, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. A lot in for about what is the best time to travel, and again it just goes back to whatever your preference is, really. As I said, November to April aren't bad months to go in terms of lower rainfall, but don't be put off by travelling, say, August, September time. One from Marissa. Hi, Marissa, over in the United States. I'm not sure how best to answer this, actually. Can we have continental breakfast as the sun comes out over Angkor Wat? Anything's possible that way, Marissa. As I said in my presentation, I remember I went to Angkor Wat. I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I went to Angkor Wat to watch this spectacular sunrise, and it was a spectacular sunrise. And as I said, half of Siem Reap was also there to see the same thing. When you're in Siem Reap, now if you're doing our Angkor Wat excursion, that actually starts at around 8 in the morning. So you'll probably have had breakfast before you actually leave the hotel. If you're an early riser and, your tour guide can give you recommendations when you're over there, if you wanted to leave early and maybe go for a sunrise trip at Angkor to see the sunrise, that's probably a possibility, and speak to your tour leader over there. And I'm sure the hotel, knowing how good the hotels are in Asia, they would be able to arrange something for you to take into Angkor. So certainly speak to your local guides or the hotel when you're over there. One from Helen. Over in the United States, do we go to Halong Bay? Well, we do, Helen, as part of our extension from Hanoi, where you spend 1 night up in the Halong Bay area. You won't do it as part of the 15-day tour, but it's certainly there as an optional extra. And like I mentioned in the presentation, if you think you're only going to go to this part of the world once, and it's something that you really want to see, then go for it, and you will not regret it. As I said, it's about a 3-hour drive north of Hanoi. You see local life along the way, but Halong Bay is just out of this world. You've really got to see it to believe it, and especially when you're on the junk and you're really getting sort of into the heart of Halong Bay. It's really a special experience, so it can be arranged in advance. That's not a problem at all. Now, let's see where in the world we'll go to next. Bear with me just 1 second. One from Rudy in Petersham in the UK. Hi, Rudy. What is your favourite Vietnamese and Cambodian foods, and can you recommend any we could try at home? In the video, you'll have seen Karina making spring rolls. These are absolutely exquisite. You must try them. Making them at home is maybe slightly more difficult, especially with the wrapping. It's wafer thin, so to try and wrapping everything up is a really skilled process, and I know I struggle with it. But that's certainly one sort of dish that you can try. Another one, my personal favourite is fish amok. You can get the ingredients online, or actually in Viking.TV, we have all the recipes and the video links that you can go to, where you can find out more information about all the recipes that we have. So definitely the spring rolls, and try the fish amok to make it home if that's your preference. You'll come back with so many ideas when you're over there, for food, though. It's just out of this world. And the food's great, but if you think you want your home comforts and you'd like some Western cuisine, then that's plentiful and it's available as well, both in the hotels that you're staying in the restaurants that you'll see in some of the major cities. And you've got all the international chains and the likes of Ho Chi Minh and up in Hanoi. And on board the ship, there's also your Western favourites as well, if you didn't want to take part in any of the local cuisine when you're on board the ship. So that's certainly an option for you as well. But thanks for the question. You'll have to send your pictures of your cooking that's taking place in, so that we can all have a look at it. All right, just bear with me 1 second there. Just go through the screen. One from Leslie. Do you need a visa? So we work in conjunction with various visa companies, whether you're in the UK, Australia, or over in the USA, and they can advise you of the visa and passport regulations for where you're travelling to. Generally, you do need a visa, and the interesting thing about this itinerary is that you're going from Vietnam into Cambodia and back to Vietnam. So you actually need a double entry visa to get you in and out of both countries. But certainly speak to our contact centre, and they can direct you to our visa company, and they can give you all the correct information to make sure that it's the right visa for the right passport type. So thank you for that email, Leslie. One from Sharon in Phoenix. Hi, Sharon. Is there any benefit of doing the journey in one direction rather than the other? There's no real difference or no real benefit in doing it one way or the other. The only real difference, I would probably say, and like I mentioned in the presentation, is if you do it in the direction that we described from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City, then the bulk of your hotel stays are at the start. You've got 5 nights in hotels in Hanoi and in Siem Reap. And then you do your 7-night river cruise with 2 nights at the end in Ho Chi Minh City. So that's the only real difference. My preference is certainly doing it in the direction that I described, because you've got the hotel stays at the beginning, you've got the relaxation of being on the ship, and then you have the 2 nights at the end before you fly home. But everybody's different. You see exactly the same things. And sometimes it's actually just a question of what date suits you, because obviously these operate in reverse directions, and one date might suit you better than another, which means that you're starting in a separate direction. But there's no real right or wrong for the direction that you travel in. So don't worry about that at all. Thanks for the message that's came in there. One from Francine over in the States. Will we be able to see sunrise and sunset over Angkor Wat or other temples in Cambodia? Yes, you will. And the sunrises, I love getting up early in the morning when I go over to Asia, because it's so still, it's so quiet. You just hear some wildlife in the distance, and it's just such a calm time of the day to get up and explore. And the sunrises and sunsets are absolutely out of this world. They're the best that you'll you'll ever see, unless of course you go on a midnight sun cruise to Norway where the sun never sets. But you know, the sunrises, sunsets in Asia are phenomenal. So you know, take your camera with you, because you'll have lots and lots of photographs to show friends and neighbours. One from Steve over in the States. Hi, Steve. Is it safe to eat street food? And should we have any concerns regarding food and water? The main thing is really drink bottled water. And obviously on board the ship, we supply bottled water, and in all the international hotels as well. I suppose with street food, it's really each to their own. A lot of people are quite happy to indulge in street food, and it is really, really tasty. And some of the dishes that are whipped up on the street food they're really quite phenomenal. It really probably just depends on your palate and how accustomed you are to different types of cuisine, whether it's right for you. But again, the local guides, the local Viking guides, when you're over there, can certainly you know, point you in the right direction of maybe what to try and what not to try, and what may not suit you. But remember, if you don't try the street food on board the ship, we do have a lot of local cuisine that is specially prepared for you, so that you can really get a flavour of Asia and a flavour of the towns and cities that you're travelling through. So thanks very much for sending in that message. Right, let's see what other ones we have coming in. Yeah, just back to food. It's a favourite subject for a lot of us. I've got a message here from Kenna in Salt Lake City. Hi, Kenna. Can you tell us more about the food on board the ship? Is there some Western food and some Asian food to choose from? Yes, there is. And if you've travelled with us over in Europe or any of our other river cruises, we have always available. And that's certainly the case when you're on board the Mekong ship as well. But you do have, obviously, your local favourites to try out. And, you know, like I mentioned, the foods, I never find Vietnamese food or Cambodian food overly spicy. You know, if you go to Thailand, for example, I mean, that is, you know, very, very spicy, especially the soups and the curries. But and actually in Vietnam and Cambodia, the food is a lot more subtle, very, very tasty, lovely flavors coming from the food, but it's not overly spicy, so there's no problem there. And when you're on board the ship, you know, if you like spicy food and you're trying some of the local cuisine, then they can certainly spice that up for you. So that's not a problem at all. But you've got multiple options on board, so that's not a concern. Not a concern at all. One from Elizabeth over in the States. Hi, Elizabeth. Dress code for dinner. Smart casual. If you've travelled with us on any of our other ships, that's really the same when you're over in the Mekong. The restaurant is completely air conditioned if you're dining inside, and it's really just sort of trousers or a skirt or a dress or something in the evening. But it's not formal at all. It's very, very casual and very relaxed on board, like the rest of our ships. So thanks very much for that message. One from Karen over in the States. Is it possible to buy a silver spirits drinks package on this cruise? Yes, it is. Very, very good value. Silver spirits drinks package. You don't really have to worry about anything. It's all taken care of. So if you want to try a local cocktail when you're sitting on the Sky Lounge and you're watching the world go by, then absolutely go for the silver spirits drinks package. And we're at the end of January, beginning of February, and this is the perfect time to go to Asia and to try the Mekong cruise. And 7 o'clock at night Mekong time, then you will definitely be on the Sky Bar drinking that cocktail and taking advantage of your silver spirit drinks package. So good question. Thank you. Bear with me a second. One from Peggy. Hi, Peggy. Just a comment, Angkor Wat is everything you said and more. It's definitely more. It's one of the most remarkable experiences I've had in my life, just to visit Angkor Wat. I've been to Siem Reap probably for about the last 4 or 5 years, actually, because it's just such a relaxed, friendly place. And I always get up early and I go to Angkor and I try and explore. It's a long excursion. The excursion that we operate to Angkor lasts for around 8 hours, but you do get to see the intricacies of this place. You could actually spend 5 days walking around Angkor because there's so much to see and absorb and listen to and take in. But it's phenomenal. And if you've been once, then go again. Try our new ship, you'll love it. Thanks, Peggy. One from Susan in New York. Hi, Susan. Is the temperature similar to Thailand? Very, very similar to Thailand, actually, and the seasonality is similar to Thailand as well, except, as I said, I found when I went to Hanoi in the north of Vietnam in sort of January, February time, it was slightly cooler. So it's by no means cold at all. And it's very, very dry. But just in the night, you might maybe want a jumper or a cardigan to sort of cover your shoulders. But it's quite unique, the difference in temperature between the north and south of Vietnam. It's by no means cold up in the north, but it's certainly maybe slightly fresher than you would find in the south of Vietnam. So thanks for that question, Susan. All right, so where are we? One from Sharon. Hi, Sharon, over in the States. Is the language barrier a problem if you choose to explore independently from the hotels? I've never been to that part of the world. Good question. So obviously when you're with Viking, you're met from the minute you arrive at the airport to the minute you sadly leave to come home, and they're with you every step of the way, the local team. Now, if you want to go up independently, one of my recommendations is that you always take a card. Take a card with the hotel name in it, especially for independence. If we're going off independently, I would probably say it's easier to go off independently in the bigger cities. So if you're in Hanoi, if you're in Ho Chi Minh, or if you're in Phnom Penh or Siem Reap. So the ship details or the hotel details on a card in local dialect is the main thing to do. It is safe. The language barrier, the English is so widely spoken over there that generally you've not got too much of a problem. And actually, even if you can't speak Vietnamese and the Vietnamese can't speak English, you seem to just get by. So it's not a massive issue, but definitely for your hotel stays, take a card from the hotel in local dialect, and generally the concierge or reception in hotel will tell the cyclo driver or the tuk-tuk driver or the taxi driver where you're wanting to go to. And a lot of the time that they'll actually wait for you and bring you back. Always negotiate a price in advance so that you don't get caught out, and that's similar to really any part of the world. Like I mentioned, if you're in Siem Reap and you're going into town from the Sofitel, it's around $3 in a tuk-tuk. So that's good. One of the, actually, I forgot to mention this on the presentation, but in Siem Reap and in Phnom Penh, one place that you really must visit, and whether that's independently or you might want to go as part of a group, is to the FCC Club, the Foreign and Commonwealth Club, which is famous, especially in Phnom Penh, but also in Siem Reap. And I never got to the one in Phnom Penh, but the one in Siem Reap is really nice. It's a lovely colonial building, and it's from where you're staying in Siem Reap. It's probably about 5 minutes in a tuk-tuk away. 20-minute walk, but 5 minutes in a tuk-tuk, and I'd recommend a tuk-tuk. But it's just got this really nice feel. Lovely lush gardens. They've got an outside bar, and you can just have a coffee, have a cocktail, whatever your preference is. But I definitely recommend visiting the FCC just to soak up the atmosphere, really, and to say that you've been there. So that was a roundabout way of answering your question. You only asked if there was a language barrier, and then I go into War and Peace about what you should do when you're there, but that's my recommendation anyway. So thanks for messaging in. All right, where are we? Bear with me a second. So a practical question here, one from Zaina in the States. What airline is used for the flight? Multiple airlines. So our Viking Air department will be able to advise you, but there's many carriers that we use going via other Asian cities or via the Middle East. There's really good connections into Hanoi and into Ho Chi Minh, and a lot of the international flag carriers will fly in there. So there's no real problem with air connections. We can't guarantee you a direct flight from your home city. You may have one or two changes, but we can certainly advise you of the best route to get there. So that is not a problem at all. Got one from Julianne in Miami. Hi, Julianne. I've seen that there are a number of community projects that you can visit on this itinerary. What can Viking guests do to support these? We sponsor a school, like I mentioned in the presentation, which is around sort of 45 minutes or so out of Siem Reap, and you have the opportunity to visit that as part of an included tour. And on Friday's show on Viking.TV, you can actually find more out about that project that we operate over in Cambodia. And a lot of the time, and I visited the school myself, that sort of pens, if you want to take something, like pens and rubbers, or sorry, erasers, pencils, always come in handy. But it's really, really good to see the things that we're doing to help the local community, and how appreciated it is, and and how certainly the children learn and sort of aspire to go into to great things, really. So it's definitely worth a visit. The other thing also, which is, if you look at all our river cruises, actually, you've got all your excursions included in this one. So there's nil, if any, optional excursions on the Mekong cruise. A majority of your excursions are, in fact, 99% of them are all included, so you don't have to worry about that. And they're very well spaced out during the day. So, you may have Angkor, as I said, is a long one. It's around 8 hours. Some of the city tours are quite long. They take around sort of 5 or 6 hours. On other days, you'll have the opportunity to do maybe a couple of included tours, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. But you do get a lot of free time as well to be able to explore the city and the towns on your own. So that's the great thing about these cruises. You really don't have, once you've paid the upfront cost, you really don't have to worry about anything else, which makes it a pleasant experience. And when you go to check out of the hotel or the ship at the end of the week, you've not got a big bill to pay for. So it's very, very good value. Right, let's see where else we have question time. Bear with me a second. Sorry for the delay in getting back to you with the questions there. One from Judith over in the States. Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes, they are prevalent over in Southeast Asia, and there's some fantastic sprays that you can get there to keep them at bay. But yeah, if you're prone to mosquitoes, then it's something to be mindful for in the part of the world that you're visiting, Judith. So thanks for the message that you sent through there. Another practical question. I can't answer this one, Judy, I'm afraid. So we had a question from Judith. We've got a question from Judy now over in Winter Garden in the States. How do you deal with the time change from America? That's a tricky one. The time change from the UK, whenever I'm travelling, I set my watch for the destination in advance. So every time I'm looking at a watch, I'm actually looking at the time of whatever time it is in the destination that I'm visiting, and try and sleep on the flight. You will get a bit of jet lag. Try and stay awake for as long as possible. It's generally you'll arrive to Southeast Asia in the early hours of the morning, and sometimes going straight to bed isn't always the wisest thing to do. Do your best to try and stay awake maybe for as long as possible, and then you'll just build into that natural sleep flow. It's a tricky one. It'll take you a couple of days to go over it possibly, but it's a 15-day itinerary, so you've got plenty of time to relax and get over any jet lag that you may have. So don't worry too much about that. One from Annie in Canada. Hi, Annie. As the itinerary starts from Vietnam into Cambodia and then back to Vietnam, guest passengers have to get double entry for Vietnam. Right, that's correct. You will need the double entry visa, and our visa service and our contact centre will be able to advise you of the best process to do that. So not a problem there. We can sort that out for you. We've got just another message in from Laurie. Hi, Laurie. I'm not sure where in the world you are, but thanks for the message. Not a question. We took this Viking trip back in 2016. It was fantastic, and you guys really do deliver everything perfectly. The tour guides who are with you the whole trip really do make it special. The daily excursions are unique and show you local life in addition to the history. So thank you very much for that, Laurie. It's good to get some feedback and hopefully inspire other viewers of the presentation to think about that for your next journey. So thank you for messaging in. One from Christine over in the States. Hi, Christine. Are most of the tours included in the price of the trip? Yes, all your tours, as I mentioned earlier, are really included in the price. I can't even think of any optionals that you pay for. And the excursions that are included, they really give you a taste of the place that you're visiting. But also, some days you can sort of pick and choose which tour that you want to do. So if you didn't want to do a temple, for example, one day you may want to do a city tour or visit visit one of the markets, or visit some of the local shops and the local communities in the area. So we have excursions to suit every taste really when you're on this tour. So you don't really have to put your hand in your pocket. Your excursions are included. So there's no problem there at all. The other thing I really want to sort of point out is that, Vietnam and Cambodia, they're really open environments. They're very, 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 very welcoming people to absolutely everybody. You'll feel at home as soon as you arrive into Southeast Asia. They're the most hospitable people that you could ever meet. And it's I've lost my train of thought there, actually. I started to say something there. It's just really saying that everybody is open and honest, so you can ask any questions. If you've got an interest in, sort of the local way of life or the history that's went beforehand, that everybody is very open and honest and really want you as the traveller to learn about their country and learn about their city and learn about their village. So you should never be shy in asking any questions. And we want you to come away with an enriched experience, which is what this cruise is all about. And the local people really add to the flavour of the journey that you're visiting, and you can sort of they can tell you what life's really like over there, as can your guides. The guides are absolutely phenomenal. So they can certainly tell you about local life when you're over there. Another question from Rain. We'd like to see more photographs of the Viking Saigon. It's only artists' renderings at the moment. The ship's scheduled to operate later on this year, from sort of September time. So I would probably say that as we get nearer departure dates, then there'll be more stateroom images and ship images that are added online. So always keep an eye on Viking.com under the ship section, and then you can see for anything new that's been added. Right. Just bear with me a second. My colleague Heather, she did actually offer to read these questions out to me, and I thought, you know what, no, but I'll be fine looking at the screen. And now I'm wishing I'd brought my glasses, so just bear with me 1 second. One from Adam in the UK. Hi, Adam. What's the scenic cruising like along the river, and is there a better side of the ship to be on? There's no better side of the ship to be on. You want to be out on deck, up on deck 3 at all times of the day, watching. Everybody's nosy, everybody's curious, and you want to be up on deck 3 watching what's happening on both sides of the river. There's not any preference to what side of the river that you're on, so don't worry too much about that. And when you're actually cruising, it's all about local life. It's all about the villages and the communities and the sights and the sounds that you see as you're travelling along the river. It's such a unique experience. And as I said earlier, some of these places that you go to, they're so inaccessible by public transport or private transport. It could take you hours to get to them from some places. So, it's quite a unique experience to travel by ship, and it's just so relaxing. That's 7 nights. Although you're visiting different towns every day, they've got a really relaxed feel to it, and you come back with so much knowledge of the place that you visited that you just want to sit on deck and talk to your fellow companions about the day that you've just seen, the sights that you've seen, and really you wait in anticipation for the next town that you visit. So the long way of answering that, Adam, is there's no special side of the ship, and you'll want to be out on deck as much as possible to see what's going on. Everybody's curious, so that's the best place to be. Where are we? Just back to the question earlier about how you get accustomed to different time zones and everything for such a long flight. We've got Carl in Monterey. Hi, Carl. Who says, great trip, did it in 2019, great hotels. Recommended that Viking make available restaurants that guests recommend when there is ability to dine on one's own time. Yeah, so our tour guides will be able to advise you of any local restaurants when you've got independent time. And for jet lag, best thing to reset your clock is to get your face in the sun. So there you go. Get some sunshine, and all your woes are gone. Your jet lag will be over, according to Carl in Monterey. So thanks very much for the message, Carl. Where are we? And I'm reading all these questions coming through, and I cannot wait to get travelling again. You know, I was meant to go over to Cambodia in August last year, and like everybody's holidays plans were put on hold for the year. But you know, I think we're all just desperate to get away. So every time I'm reading these questions coming through from our guests who are saying how they loved the trip and they're looking at travelling with us, I wish I was coming with you, because I cannot wait to get travelling again. It's all very, very good. I think this is the most that I've actually spoken to everybody this year. It's great to have this little community of people that keep sending messages in. So there we go. One from Peggy. Peggy in the States. Hi, Peggy. I think I spoke to Peg earlier. When staying at hotels off the ship, how many meals are covered? Good question, Peggy. All your breakfasts are covered and all your evening meals are covered. Your lunches are generally independent, and you can choose where you want to dine. You might want to dine in the hotel, you might want to dine in a local cafe or one of the main restaurants. So there's so much choice. You know, in where your hotel stays are, in Siem Reap and Hanoi and in Ho Chi Minh City, there's a massive amount of restaurants that you can dine in, very, very inexpensive. And I mentioned at the start of the presentation about currency. So obviously you've got your local Vietnamese and Cambodian currency, which is accepted everywhere. But US dollars are generally recommended, and it's one of the preferred currencies when you're certainly travelling in Vietnam and Cambodia. If you are taking cash with you, and it's good to get advice from your bank and your credit card, and you know, tell them where in the world you're travelling to before you go. And that's typical whether you're travelling to Europe or Asia or Australia or anywhere. You know, just tell your bank in advance where you're travelling so they can keep an eye on your credit card and everything. But take dollar bills with you. Just take some small dollar bills. They're good for tips, but also local markets, local restaurants, hotels, shops for purchasing will take dollar bills. Ones, fives, tens, and 20s are really your what I would recommend to take with you. Credit cards are widely accepted in all the major big cities. Not so much when you're obviously on the river visiting the smaller towns, and that's when some local currency or dollars will come in handy. But in the big cities and the shopping malls and the hotels, you know, then credit cards are widely accepted. Absolutely no problem. So that's my tip, my currency tip for you. Right, are there any more? Let's have a look. Hope everybody can understand the Scottish accent. I did have an email from a guest earlier who said that they were going to watch the presentation, and I'm from Edinburgh and he's from Glasgow. So he was wanting to make sure that the Edinburgh accent could be understood by a Glaswegian. Where are we? A general question, and there's no straight answer for this actually, Robin, over in the States. Can you recommend a good travel guide to Vietnam and Cambodia? There's so many travel guides out there, you know, Fodor's Lonely Planet. You know, there's lots of various options, and we do have good links to certainly some booksellers as well. So on our website or Viking.TV can certainly give you some good information about you know, about books for your local area that you're visiting. One from Duncan in Tampa. I don't know the answer to this question, Duncan. We can certainly find out for you. Can the ship send out purchases back home from us? I don't know if the ship can do that, and certainly we can find out in advance, so the local guides will be able to tell you. I know if you're buying bulky items in some of the larger stores, or the larger shops, and you live in the States or you live in the UK, then they will offer a shipping service, obviously at a charge, which should all be agreed in advance. And the shipping charge will really depend on how big the item is. I'm not an expert on that. We can probably find out from the ship if they can arrange that. Your local guide will be able to give you advice, but certainly the shop sellers themselves do that on numerous occasions. They'll be able to give you the most up-to-date information. It's quite a good question, actually, because when you're over in certainly Southeast Asia, Cambodia and Vietnam, you basically want to buy the world, because there are so many items in the market stalls that you think that would look good in your home when you get back home. But how on earth am I going to be able to get back home when I've only got 23 kilos of luggage? So of course, it's an important question. How am I going to be able to transport these home? And everything is possible. And if we certainly don't know the answer, then we'll be able to find out for you. Have another quick scan, see what's came through. Oh, this is promising. One from Kathleen over in the States. I can understand your accent perfectly and enjoying the accent. Thank you very much, Kathleen. Not so when we drove back in Scotland in 1988. That's probably another story, Kathleen, about accents, but thank you very much. From Gail in the States, went on the waterways of the SARS cruise, and it was perfection. Can't wait for our next cruise with Viking. Hopefully it'll be on the Mekong, Gail. Thanks very much for the comment. I think that is us nearing the end of the question and answer session. I'm really sorry if I've not managed to get through everybody. Let me just have one last scan and see if I can see anything and see if I've missed out on anybody. So a message in from Claire saying that she wasn't clear in San Francisco, that you weren't able to see the full presentation, but the live stream will be available, and the question and answer sessions will be available on Viking.TV within the next few hours, and definitely tomorrow. And James behind the scene will be making sure that that's put online, so you'll be able to have a look through that. And remember, our contact centre staff, whether you're in the UK or whether you're over in the States or Australia, New Zealand, are very, very knowledgeable about all our destinations. So if you've got specific ship questions, itinerary questions, you just need a question about inoculations or visas, or you just need to be confident that it's the right journey for you that you're booking. We know the answers. We've got a great team of colleagues worldwide, and if we don't know the answer, we'll certainly find out for you. So there's always backup resources available if nothing or not everything's been answered on the presentation this evening. I think. Oh, sorry. I think there might be a couple more coming. There's two more. One from Melanie. It's a practical question on air again, Melanie, who's over in the States. Through which cities do you travel when flying from the US to this trip? As I mentioned, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, they're international gateways. So they have a lot of international flights flying in from all over the world. Obviously, I'm based in the UK. I can't comment on US flying program. But all I would say is that, you know, all the main international airlines and US carriers fly over to Southeast Asia. You know, without naming any sort of specific carrier, there's various gateways, whether you're maybe via Seoul, sometimes via Taipei, via Bangkok, via Hong Kong, via Dubai. There's various options to get you over there. But the Viking Air team will make sure that you get the right flight for you. One from Kathleen, just about river levels and seasons. So we operate the Mekong itinerary at really the best season, or the best seasonality, to get the best out of the place that you're visiting. When we, you know, the climate and, you know, temperatures now, the world can change, but generally on the Mekong, for the time of year that we're operating, there's, you know, it's pretty reasonable to say that the river levels are generally okay for the season that we operate, at the time of year that we operate. So hopefully that'll answer your question, Kathleen. And I think we're nearly there. We've got a special request, and that we hope that Viking.TV will do a week around Latin America. So maybe a Latin America or an Americas week. That's a good recommendation. Again, that's from Kathleen again. So Heather and James, that's over to you to answer that and hopefully sort that one out. I think that's most of the questions. As I said, I'm really sorry if I've never answered all the questions that you've had. The presentation, it was just a very, very short overview. There's about 35 minutes or so, just to give you a bit of an idea of the workings of the Mekong trip. Now, we do obviously have other cruises in Asia. So if you've done the Mekong before and you think, actually, I quite fancy going back to Asia, then we obviously have our ocean vessels operating over there. Sort of going Bangkok through to Hong Kong, Komodo over to Australia. So there's various options that we can certainly look at for you. And, you know, one of our ocean cruises also touches Vietnam and Cambodia as well. If you were thinking of something other than a river cruise, if you've already done the mighty Mekong River with us before. So there's lots and lots of options. Just head over to Viking.com and you can see all the destinations on offer. So I think that's it from me for this evening. It's 8:30 over in London. So wherever in the world you are, and whatever time of day or evening it is, stay safe, stay well, and I will hopefully see you again soon. And maybe, if not on Viking.TV, hopefully on a Viking ship in the not too distant future. Thanks for watching. Thank you.